And great. It is Monday, April 29th. Oh my goodness, it's almost May. Such an exciting time of year. And I am excited to be settling in. I just finally had a full week of being settled in after all this traveling and gathering summit and moving and all this stuff. So it was nice to just have a regular week here and building up all kinds of momentum for the next steps for this group and all kinds of other fun things. So I'm excited to be digging into all that. But in the meantime, let's do some introductions. Let's see where everybody's at, and let's see who wants to hop on the hot seat this week and figure out what topic we'll be covering and all of that good stuff. So first on my list of screens here are the fine gentlemen at CoLab, room 1 over there. I think I can.
No, I can wait. I'm kind of waiting.
From all the way over there. Hey guys, hello. Say hello to the group. Tell us what's going on in your world.
Oh, that's why. Okay. My bad.
Oh no, I see you talking, but I don't hear you.
Can you hear me talking?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Awesome. So Alec and I own Ivy Creatives, which is a co-working space right behind this wall. And we're meeting today in another co-working space that's actually connected through our doors. So yeah, we have 2 co-working spaces directly next to each other. One's creative, one is more business, boardroom meetings, stuff like that. And we are just figuring out how to bridge the gap between both of these spaces and collaborate with each other.
Yes, you had mentioned this last week, and what have you done kind of in the meantime, or what fresh thoughts have you got since we last talked about it?
Do a membership license. So co-working in our city is extremely new. There's only 2 in the space. And what we've done is we've created memberships at CoLab, or memberships at Ivy Creatives have the ability to sign up for memberships for $50 for each space. So let's say they pay the initial $300 for the private room or whatever that cost is over at us. They can now go to CoLab and sign up for $50. Basically, why we did that is we only have 1 conference room in our space, and CoLab has 4. So it was an ability for us to use the conference rooms, also use the kitchen, and access to all of their programming events, which are more business startups.
So the idea is like somebody could upgrade their membership to get access to both spaces?
Yes, correct.
Neat. That sounds fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely opened up a lot for our members, and it as well opened up a lot for CoLab's members who are searching for the creatives to do design work and video work, and we're searching for the not only investors but also businesses to work for.
Got it. Cool. And what's kind of a next step for you as far as that's concerned? Is it finding more of those individuals that you want to work with who can help you?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Cool. The next step would definitely be we're doing the agency model. So we built the co-working space to bring in high-level designers and freelance creatives. And from there, Alec and I started an agency called Omni Agency, where we contract out these employees and act as project managers to complete larger projects. Awesome.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, as we go through the list here, as we go through the folks here, if any burning questions come up for you guys, let us know and we'll see if we can make some time to discuss it. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Let's go to Chicago and Highland Heights. We got Jessica and Jen. Jessica, why don't you go first?
Hello, everyone. Jessica Erickson from Dayhouse Co-working in the Highland Park, the suburbs of Chicago. And we are just starting week 8 of being open. We are on a roll. We're excited. Things are continuing to move. Jen did an awesome project in our upstairs that I let her talk about. But yeah, we made our plan to kind of bring us our 4 to 6 week plan to bring us into summer. What are the operational things we need to get set space wise, but also then, other kind of projects that we want to get set, so then we can just really boom and move forward.
So you're looking to kind of settle into your operational scheme now that you're in there, in terms of, okay, like we made it through the launch, now let's settle in and get into a groove, right?
Yeah, because we have some, like our huddle rooms, which are like our phone rooms, aren't really usable in their current state. So tweaking the space, but also then our operations, getting things like our office supply order, get that set up. So Jen and I aren't just playing whack-a-mole doing things.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, good. This could actually be a good hot seat topic, is to discuss kind of all kind of operational like streamlining type stuff. And I've got a few tips to share. I'm sure a lot of other people in this call do as well. So yeah, maybe we'll dive into that. Jen, I hear you have something to share.
So over the weekend, we reconfigured our upstairs to accommodate more dedicated desks, because we're all sold out of those, but we need to have more. So I ordered some Imagispace walls, and they're kind of like these really cool Lego block systems. And we put those together this weekend, and now we've got to, hey Jeff, we've got to run to IKEA and buy more desks. So we're gonna have those set up in the next few weeks. But yeah, so that's exciting. So we're going from 4 dedicated desks to 8. What else did we do this past week? We also reconfigured our membership levels based on some feedback. So now, instead of a $100 level that gives you 3 visits a month, and then an unlimited at $350, we added like 2. We got rid of the 100. We did a 125 for once a week, 250 for twice a week, 350 unlimited. We've already had someone sign up for the 250 because the 100 wasn't enough. 350 was too much. Just like, was it baby bear, mama bear? I can't remember. 250 is just right.
You got the Goldilocks model.
Yeah. And then I'm setting up a meeting with a potential angel investor for this weekend.
This is frozen.
I had a couple of really great conversations with some advisors on that. I learned all about convertible notes, which I did not know anything about last week, and now I know about them. And so I'm going to present her with that idea, hopefully this weekend.
That's excellent. Yeah, I feel like you're going to be learning a lot about a lot of finance.
Hard to shut down, because look, everybody's actually moving here.
Sorry, Tony, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello? All right. Yeah, you're going to be learning a lot of finance-related stuff, I imagine, as you get ready to kind of pitch all these folks, which is all.
All right, go ahead and turn your sound on. I'm going to reboot my computer since it's not working.
My hearing. That's Tamara. You're muted. Bye. Okay. Yeah, sounds good, Jen. And what was I going to say? I like that you made this membership adjustment. I found that this is actually a pretty common thing, is that shortly after you open, once you see how the market's actually responding to what you created, that's when you end up saying, okay, well, this is working, this isn't. And then you end up throwing out this whole model that you had been planning for months and then making a new one on the spot. But
Okay.
I have empirical information, so that helps. Great. Okay, cool. Mark, how are things going in your world? What's going on?
Hear me?
Yes, gotcha.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so we've finally come out of the 2-month ordeal of where we're doing it all ourselves. So putting in a second washroom, lots of painting, filling holes, furniture, kids installing a kitchen, and so forth. And this past week, we finally did we are open, and we've hit every single group that we know. I went to a film networking event on the weekend. Everyone's very excited for the space. We're in a somewhat smaller community, so there isn't a lot like us here. There's not, I wouldn't say there's anything like us in the community. And we're kind of 4 corners. We've got co-work, I'm in the kind of retail pop-up, maybe more desk space. We have event space, and we have maker space. We currently have one person, one lady who's in our co-work, and we have one person moving in on May 15th that does things with looms. So she's going to do classes for people to how to use a loom. She makes stuff with her own loom, and then she's going to use the pop-up store. So she's kind of like the perfect tenant. She's using 3 of the 4 spaces. Probably challenges is, well, not challenges, but things. I'm now an expert on QuickBooks. We had 2 months worth of receipts and getting all that into the system. All the bank accounts and all that's been done. We're kind of at a point on pricing. We have a lot of interest in our event space and people want to know pricing right away. We're having a difficult time in that somebody could come in and want boardroom for 10 and someone could come in and bring in 100 people wanting a flea market, and they're both wanting pricing. And so we're trying to give a base rate so we get them through the door. So we're not going to, if you can't pay this, then we're not going to have the conversation at all. But then after that, we're trying to be negotiable. But people want to know right away, what's your hourly charge? And we're like, well, what do you want to do? But people really are adamant that they want to know that right away.
Doing the math on how to calculate like event space rental is such a like mind-bending exercise. But yeah, I think you're already doing one of the more important things, just setting this boundary of, look, it's not just an hourly rate. There are so many different factors at play. So go here, fill out this form, and we'll come back to you with a rate, right? You can also have like a rate sheet that shows, here's kind of like our packages that we offer and the upgrades and things like that. And I am going to see if I can dig up one that I have, just in case it might be useful to you. Because it took us forever to figure that out and it was super painful. But what we came up with was like kind of like standard packages that could be upgraded. And then, because there are like, pretty frequent use cases for like a meetup group or a giant Saturday event or whatever. And so we could kind of funnel things through. Okay. So maybe we'll discuss that more, but thanks for that, Mark. Good stuff.
Yeah. And I had 2 other things. One, I'm using your co-work agreement from the package.
Yeah.
I'm trying to adjust that for the production people, the makerspace.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of some of the same terms. But the one thing I've come up to is around the alcohol piece. We want to do open house and we want to do like a happy hour Friday. And it's interesting to know at what point do you worry about licensing, the fact that you have alcohol in your space and insurance. It's a very big quagmire that, you have 10 people around having drinks. At what point are you responsible to have the appropriate liquor licensing around that, or are you just kind of turning a blind eye?
Yeah, I think to some degree it is a judgment call because, everybody's got a different space situation. Like when we were running our space, it was very independent, kind of, spit and glue style. So we could get away with a lot more just by virtue of flying under the radar. But then I've worked with government entities that are hosting events in their space and they cannot take any chances around anything because it's like, a public institution. So some of it is who are you and what's your situation? What's your own appetite for risk, and then what are the local laws and ordinances? So I would say certainly you want to consult other people who have done something similar in your city who are maybe further along and more established and ask them, hey, what have you guys done around this? What are your thoughts? That kind of thing. I think you only like just general, and I will preface this with I am not a lawyer, so do not, take this as legally binding advice. But from what I've seen is like things get stickier when you're asking for money for drinks. So if you're like selling drinks to people, that's when things get complicated. If you're selling tickets to an event and then giving drinks to people, I think that gets a lot easier. And as in many things in life, if nothing goes wrong, then there's, like if you don't have a bunch of kids showing up and getting drunk, then it's probably, you're probably going to be okay. And here in New York, like there's events every night of the week that I can go to either for free or to buy a ticket. and there's alcohol there, right? For larger events, you can get special insurance specifically to cover you. But I don't know. I don't think that you need to deal with any like specific licensing or like liquor license or anything like that unless you plan to really make a business of selling alcohol to people. But again, I would double check that with people who've actually done it in your city.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. And I did pull up my rate card from my old co-working space, which I will where is it? I'm going to make sure you get a copy of it shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. All right, cool. It is in the toolkit, so I'm just going to send you a link to it in the chat now. Okay, I got Jennifer in Houston, Workspace Suites. What's going on, Jennifer?
Hi, she stepped out for a second. This is Alba. Hello, everyone.
Oh, hey, Alba. Sorry.
That's okay. I missed
Jennifer, and I just can't help myself.
That's okay. We have some new friends that had moved out, and they came back this week to join us, so that's exciting. So having a little bit more life back in. So we've got a total of 3 full offices rented. We have our open desks, which are still empty, and I'm hoping with this event that we're having in about a month, we'll have kind of generate some traffic. And we have had more people inquire, so I'm excited. We've gotten some phone calls and some people popping in. So I don't know if it's just the social media or just kind of getting ourselves out there. That's been kind of nice. And I think we're waiting on the permitting for our sign to officially have it outside the building. And I'm hoping once that's up, that we'll be able to again generate more people coming in.
Got it. And Alba, where is your event? Like, do you have a page for it online, like a RSVP?
So I did it through Meetup.
Okay.
And I posted it. We're in a couple of networks, so it filled up rather quickly. My only concern is Houston's humongous. So there's some people from further out suburbs that are RSVPing. I don't know if they'll attend, but I do want people to capture people within our section of the Northwest Houston area. So I also posted it on a couple of network pages that we're involved with. Mm-hmm. And I figure since it's about to hit about a month, I'm going to go ahead and post it on like Facebook, Instagram, and put it on our website. I just didn't want to post it too early and then have them kind of forget about it. So this week I plan to kind of put that out there and push it through a little bit more.
Got it. Okay, great. And in terms of actually, can you send the link to your event to the chat here, just so we can have a quick look at it?
Oh, sure.
Great.
I'm not sure how to do that.
Great. And yeah, I do want to mention we do have a new member in our group here who's also in Houston. And so, Sophie, I'm excited to have you along. I'm excited to meet you. And while we're here, let's make Houston friends.
Awesome.
Sophie, Alba.
Great.
Sophie, tell us about you.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. I'm Sophia. I'm in Houston, and I just I've been in for the last 4 months. I've been researching and planning a concept that I have for a co-working space in Houston. So I went to the UC conference. I saw your presentation, Tony. It was wonderful. And I've been investing in co-working spaces in Latin America through a network of friends. So I'm getting like full blown into the space, and hopefully I will be able to open our space sometime at the end of this year or next year. I'm right now at the stage of planning, feasibility, looking for spaces, and forming a team.
Awesome. And
what part of Houston? I'm sorry.
I'm in the Heights.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And so I want to merge co-working for parents and childcare.
That's nice.
So there's a lot of work as I'm forming a team of teachers too, and so I'm trying to figure out how to best leverage all the working, like, you know, my work and my skills with the team I'm forming.
Amazing. So Sophia, that's so cool, and you're in good company here because we've got Jen and Jessica as well. Did you get to meet them when you were in Denver?
No, because I only went to the UC camp. I had to come back to Houston, so I went like to like a flash 1-day trip. But next year I'll the full week, the full 3 days, because I really miss that I missed the 2 other days.
Okay, totally cool. So you see Jessica in the group here, and then her collaborator Jen are running a space in Highland Park, not Highland Heights, Highland Park, Chicago, that incorporates a daycare model and is geared towards.
Oh wow, great! That's Jen movie, great.
Yeah. So you guys can have some wisdom to share. Great. Can you tell us just a quick little background on like how did you end up deciding to build a space? Like how did you end up here in this room doing this?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, for you. Yeah, just a little bit about your motivation, like your background and why you decided to make a space.
Oh, okay. So my background, I'm a geophysicist and geologist. And I worked for 15 years in the oil and gas industry all throughout the world, like Venezuela, Colombia, London, California, here in Houston. And after I had my first child, I wanted to have more flexibility. And I always thought that I make save, and retire early to do something that was more fulfilling for me than the oil industry. Although I loved my technical job, but I didn't really like working for the oil industry. And in 2016, I sort of stepped down from the corporate world. I was working for BP, and then I started my own consulting business on oil and gas. And once we realized, like, okay, I got financial where I wanted to be, then I decided to cut ties to the oil and gas industry and focus on something. And so this idea had been brewing already since about 2017, where I was thinking, I really want to, I became really passionate about life and work balance, and really wanted to, and I realized that there's so much need in the space, in the market for companies that help parents live a productive life in their careers, but also be the parents they want to be, and not compromise as much as care providers. So this idea came up on trying to join co-working with childcare. At that time, there were like only a couple ones that was like about 2 years ago, only a couple ones in the US. But it's taken me 2 years to sort of like, distill through a bunch of other ideas of what I wanted to do, close down my consulting business so that I can fully dedicate to this and actually convince myself that it was a profitable model. And then I finally jumped into it this year.
That is such an amazing story, and I'm grateful for you sharing it. I have to say, I was first of all very impressed to hear that you're a geophysicist and geologist, and then was so curious to see how that journey was going to take you to being someone who's starting a space. And it makes perfect sense, and it's such a beautiful story. And I'm excited to see more people hear that story, from you, and to kind of join you for that journey. So. And I'm excited that we get to be along with you for it. So congrats.
Great, thanks.
Progress. All right. Jen was just chatting in. She said that story is a selling point. She's absolutely right. Like that, it's a really compelling story. And the more that and this is true for everybody here, the more that we're telling our stories, our personal journeys, they're meaningful. And a lot of times, there's nobody in this group who's like, I saw an opportunity in the market to make a margin on renting space, and that's why I'm in this business. Like, everyone here has a personal reason to be doing this that's more meaningful than just that. And the more that people can hear that story, the more that they can connect their own story to your story and say, like, hey, we both have like similar interests here. Let's, talk more. And so I think, it's very exciting to hear that story coming from you. And I'm sure that that's going to get a lot more people on board as you tell that story to more people.
Yeah. I found that growing the team is not difficult when they see sort of the passion for trying to solve problems that parents face. A lot of people are quite passionate about that too. So I think there's a lot of space to grow in this, in this conjunction between the two.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, great. Let's welcome and let's get into finishing up our intros and talking about hot seating it up. So who have we not talked to yet? We got Katrina in the car. Can you say a quick hello? You're riding in the passenger seat, right? Okay, good. Uh-oh. Can we hear you?
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I'm in the passenger seat. This is my co-captain.
Hey, everybody.
And husband, my co-captain, partner, and entrepreneur. My husband, so we're the ones that started the co-working space. And, I'm excited because we took a break. I think I was in burnout more than he was. So we took off for the weekend and we're on our ride home. I found some help to help me at the Vibe, which is great. I needed it. It was somebody that I worked with in the past. So she came in and totally trust her. So it was nice to just kind of let go for a few days and not Vibe all weekend. And then it really turned into a cool situation where she's going to offer a virtual assistant service out of my space. And so we're going to do some kind of trade in kind. So it just kind of morphed into something over the last week or so to help her, to help me. So it's been an eventful last couple of days and weeks. We've got some members, which I was really excited about. And then we've got a guy that came in, a group of investors, and now it's like he's just trying to wheel and deal with me. And I kind of feel like he's, just, well, this is my proposal to you. And he's really just treating the whole thing like I'm going to be so lucky to have him in my space. And then his numbers keep changing, and he's like, okay, it's going to be 10 people. No, it's going to be up to 30 people coming and going. We want free access to your space. And I'm like, that's not what I offered. So I really want to get the team's take on that. I don't know if that'd be a good hot topic or not, but I've got my list. I did negotiate. I felt like I made a good offer, but he kind of came back again and his story changed a little bit. So I want to be smart and not jump out there excited to get a big client in there and get some, movement in there and then not make a bad business deal, because I feel like my gut is telling me he's going to be way more maintenance than he's worth. Like, I just don't get good vibes from this, and he's really arrogant. And my husband's like, forget it. This is our price. This is what we have. We know what the market is. We don't have to negotiate. If he doesn't like it, he can go somewhere else. And the worst thing is he's a realtor, so he's a real estate broker. It went from wanting 10 folks to 30 people coming in and out of my space free of charge. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was disgusting.
Katrina,
So that's my hot topic.
I need to find, I'm going to get a little toy red flag that I can grab just to wave it around wildly at these calls. No.
We're on a 9-hour road trip, and this 9-hour road trip consumed the majority. I was like, no more. So yeah, I need help for sure. And Jen, I just saw your thing come in, and I've got to go back and look at it. But it's like he wants one dedicated desk, and then he wants 10 realtors to share that one dedicated desk, and then everyone to have free access.
No.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I'm noping it out so hard here. And I will say one bad member in your space will cost you so much more money from members who are repelled by that person, and
yeah.
You really got to think of it in terms of what he's going to cost you culturally and
yeah.
in terms of repelling people. So look, I know this is part of why we try to focus so much here on, yes, you do need customers. Yes, you want to get people in the door, and you're tempted to say yes to someone who's willing to pay you for that space. But we absolutely we need to be able to think longer term about this stuff. And if you put your energy, if you take this guy out of the equation and you devote that energy to being amazing and building a great culture instead, it's going to steer you in a direction that's going to lead you to longer term prosperity. End of conversation. And the fact that you are taking this time to take care of yourself each other is so important, right? Like I know you guys got to work right now because you're in like super hustle mode and you need to, but you do need to take at least a little time to get some perspective and give yourself some breathing room. So I'm glad you're doing that. Keep up the good work on that.
Yeah. Well, we've got some good stuff coming. We've got some great stuff coming. So our launch event is this month. We're having a big private party with some old school invitations that went out. We're having our Google launch event, which is open to just the young professionals group chamber. So it's going to be maxed at 30. So I'm just trying to remind us to be patient and just, you know, grow it the right way. It's costing us some money right now. We know that, but the right vibe is coming. I mean, like the people are coming and they're not squawking and gawking about all these silly little things. I mean, they're commending us saying, yeah, we don't want a ton of people in this space late at night. We don't want to. So I appreciate the reinforcement. I think we just have to be patient, take it one day at a time.
That's exactly right.
And not burn out.
Katrina, congrats on that, and keep up the good work. Let's go to,
Thanks.
let's go to, is our Tamara and Clint ready to say hello? And then we'll do Penny, and then we'll see what we can do in terms of discussion. Tamara and Clint, hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's
Hi,
up?
guys.
How's it going over there?
It's a morning of troubleshooting.
Oh no, what's happening?
Well, we had an attempted break-in this weekend.
What?
Yeah, so we had our two back doors, which is the space that's the most hidden, I guess, because our front is very exposed. Yeah, someone broke all the hinges on one of the doors, ripped the handle off the other, tried to crowbar open the doors, but we have pretty good locks, and we had these extra bars, and I'll take pictures. I need to show you guys what some of this extra features that we added onto our doors. So anyway, we're dealing with that. Then our software didn't send out email invoices, didn't notify us of the email invoices. I don't know. We just got a lot of weird crap happening. So I'll let you take over.
What software was it?
We use DeskWorks.
Bummer.
So we've sent out.
You guys are scaring me. I have work too. I didn't know.
Well, usually it's fine. And they're quick to respond. So we just sent out a ticket, and usually their customer service is pretty quick. So we'll find out what it is. But
yeah, it's one of those things where we don't know if we
hit the wrong button.
Hit a button, which we shouldn't have because I haven't messed with any of the settings in forever. And usually everything works great with them, but when it did what they call the sweep of all the invoices, it does it 3 days before. It did not send the invoices out to anybody, nor did it send it to us as the admins so that we could review them right before the first of the month. So it just, yeah. Just the way that it rolls, right? This is the way it happens.
Let us know what's going on with that when you find out, just in case it's helpful to other folks in the group to avoid pushing the shutdown business button. So tell us about this break-in attempt. How are you feeling about it? What reflections are you having? What are you thinking as far as any actions you want to take?
Well, we're in an area that's in being refurbed and has been growing back for the last 8 to 10 years. And we still have a lot of homeless around us. We're near the hospital district in Fort Worth. So there's still a lot of homeless. And for the neighborhood, we just always say it's not a matter of if, but when. And so they kind of work through so that the restaurant next door was broken into a year ago. I just found out my landlord, they have a lumber yard right next door. They were broken into a month ago. So we're not looking at like professional criminals, because when you look at what they did, we all were like, why didn't you just break the glass and come in? Like they must have spent a good 20 minutes or so trying to get these hinges off the door. Like stupid, right? Maybe they're on crack or drugs or something. And criminals are not the smartest people. So, and what would they have gotten? I mean, 3 TVs and a crappy computer. I mean, there's not much else here. So, but obviously for me moving forward, and this is where I'll take some pictures of the extra protection we put over the doors when we had our first attempted break-in 2 years ago. I'll show you guys these covers we put on so that people can't get the crowbars in there and pop open the doors. And it made all the difference. It made the biggest difference. That's why they weren't able to get in. But moving forward,
like metal plates, right? That you kind of put over. Yeah.
Yeah. But so moving forward, though, now I'm going to look into getting some cameras that are specifically at the doors that are motion censored, kind of like your kind of like the Nest cameras and stuff, because I don't want to wait till they trigger my system. I want to, and then call the cops, because there's too much downtime there. And for me, it's the hassle of repairing the damage. Even if they don't get that much, who knows, they come in and just be a whirlwind, set the place on fire. Who knows? There's people just do stupid things. So I'm meeting with my IT guy this afternoon about some different cameras to add. We already have internal cameras, something that could be motion censored and notify me immediately if that happens.
Yeah.
So
we had a couple of Nest cameras in my space, and they had the motion detecting feature. So you could basically just go to certain events that happened. And I have to say, it was super handy. Not even it's certainly from a theft concern standpoint, but just to be able to know, what time did my desk manager show up in the morning, and who was the first person in the door in the morning, who's coming and going, when you're not the person sitting at the front desk every day, but you want to be able to keep track of what's going on in your space. It could be so valuable to know. Even if I come in the morning and I'm like, maybe the space is messed up from the event the night before, or something's out of place. Who was the last one out the door last night?
Yeah, I agree. I can't. Any one of you are opening new spaces. I did not open without cameras. I had cameras from the moment I opened. So I have 3 internal cameras, and they're all DVR'd, and I can play them back on my phone or watch them live. Everybody always makes fun of me because I'm creeping on them. But you know what? This is my baby, and you've got people coming and going, and you want to be able to make sure that they shut off the lights and who didn't shut off the lights and that kind of thing, and keep track of him if he doesn't show up.
Yeah. Jen is saying in the chat, is my cleaner actually cleaning, which is a good one.
Yes.
Another vote for Nest cameras. Who's been dancing up in here? It's true, actually. When I've danced in my space, I'd have to turn off my own cameras. But that's good stuff. All right, good. So I'm sorry to hear about it, Tamara, and I hope you guys can just kind of process the feeling of the violation, because I know whenever something like that happens, even if you've successfully repelled it, it's still a violation, right? To know that this force was out there. So I hope you're all kind of able to kind of take the time you need to take to actually process that feeling all the way through. But
thanks.
Way to hang tight. It sounds like you guys are on top of it. All right. So this is clearly going to be one of those ensemble meetings where we just touch on a few topics and we get a little sampler of everything. It's a poo-poo platter today, but that's okay. We still have to say hi to Penny and Tanya as well. So Penny, you want to say a quick hello, and Tanya, you want to say a quick hello after that?
Hi, everyone. I'm Penny Meckley-Porter in Erie, Pennsylvania. I have not launched. I'm in the community building phase and getting location phase. And Saturday, I had the second event that I've held at basically the other co-working space in town, where I invited a bunch of psychotherapists, because this is going to be a therapist co-working space for therapist counselor type. So I've invited a bunch of psychotherapists, and there were 10 people there. It was well VP'd, which was fine with me. It was good to have those people there. So anyway, we had great conversations, and a lot of people do have a lot of energy about it. Some people volunteered to be on my core team, because I don't know, I'm kind of winging it here, and it'd be nice to have some people who were on my team. So all that's really good. And then at the end, a guy who's there, a therapist who I have actually a lot of respect for, he told me that, so the Greater Erie Alliance for Equality, so we don't have an LGBT facility here in town. We're 100,000 people, so we have this Greater Area Alliance for Equality. They exist, and they've brought some trainings in. But right now they're looking for a facility, and so he invited me and Thrive Therapy Space to potentially locate there instead of at this other location that I had already found and am about to sign an option on. So not the actual lease, but about to sign an option on to kind of tie it up for a while I work get my ducks in a row. But so I don't know, it could be a nice opportunity, but so now we're at the beginning of that, and they still need to fundraise and buy the building and get it in shape so that Thrive could even join them there. But it would be kind of completely changing, because right now I'm thinking about signing this 3-month thing and then maybe signing the lease and hopefully doing some minor construction. There's not too much that needs to be done. And so getting busy, like in 3 months or 6 months, I'd have Thrive Therapy Space up and running. But if I were to join them, I mean, we have to start having conversations today, but if I were to join them, I think it would be like a year or 2 years down the road.
Yeah, so there's a trade-off there, and you have to kind of decide, like, are you going to go? I'm assuming that partnering with these folks would decrease your risk substantially, right? And like it would give you some added infrastructure, but you'd be getting in bed, with these folks in terms of a business partnership. So it's a decision you have to make as far as that's concerned. Penny, I want to say though, I just want to pause and kind of rewind and unpack what you just said, because it's really, really exciting to me. Since I no longer run my space and now I'm helping you all, I can't like make you do what I suggest, but you're doing exactly what I would have wanted you to do, and I'm seeing it bear fruit. And so I'm really, really happy to see that, right? So for those of you who maybe don't know Penny's story that well, what she's building is a very niche thing in a not so gigantic city. So like to build a space for therapists in Erie is an ambitious undertaking unto itself. But what she's doing is she's finding those people, she's hanging out with them before she's building her space and building relationships. And now you have people who are volunteering to be on a core team. Woo! Yay! Not just you, big win. And now already it's borne fruit in terms of an opportunity that could get you in the door of a physical space without you having to do it all by yourself, which is like unbelievably valuable, right? In the sense that, if you do want to accelerate things and build out your own space, then you can do that. But this could be a way for you to get your foot in the door, get your feet wet, get your wet foot in the door, and be able to really get a sense of what it's like to run a space without having that whole giant burden on you. So congratulations on doing all that good stuff.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. Please follow up with us maybe in an email on the dilemma of these two different options and maybe some of the trade-offs. Okay. It might not hurt if you just kind of type it out for your own purposes, but then we could kind of follow along as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Congrats. Tanya, you are, last but not least, want to say a quick hello and tell us what's going on in your world?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya at the ground floor co-working space in Cranbrook, British Columbia. Penny, you probably have like a awesome group of people who need therapy in all the co-working space operators. You'd be like, I've got all your clients. They're crazy. They need help. Sign me up. I'm going to Erie. I don't remember the last time I checked in. I told you guys I got my grant, so I got $285,000 to create a makerspace. And yeah, it's a huge grant. It's my biggest I've ever written, actually. And I forgot to put administration in the budget, which is like a huge mistake. This is like 12% usually, right, for the organization. So that was a bummer, but that's all right. We'll work it out. So I'm rolling. Construction has started. We're expanding our space. The tech meetups are continuing to happen. So they're always the last Tuesday of the month. That's the community, thanks to Tony, that I built before I built the makerspace, before I even knew I had the money. So I've got about 40 people on that list of tech people who are excited about a makerspace. So I'm announcing tomorrow night at the April tech meetup that we got the makerspace, and that's coming down the line. So it's just been keeping me busy because I was already full, and now I'm doing this whole other project that includes being basically a project manager for a huge renovation. But it's also cool because I'm like looking at tile samples and, you know, I like that. So, yeah, I don't know. There's not much else going on.
Except for that you're working on this big, amazing project. But
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Great. Well, congrats on that, Tamara.
Thanks.
Tanya, sorry. And so excited for your progress. And yes, I think Penny could probably build an empire for her people, just helping all of us. That would be
yeah.
amazing to see. Therapy for co-working space managers sounds like a $1 million business at least.
Well, and I would talk to all you guys about what I talk to myself and all my clients about, right? And that's about kind of finding this balance. The self-care is important because when we don't do the self-care and we don't find balance, we make crazy decisions. We feel more panicked and desperate. And so, yeah, the self-care ends up being a huge part of it.
Penny, do you want to partner on a virtual co-working space manager therapy offering? Because I feel like I could sell that like hotcakes.
It'd be kind of fun. This whole, I love groups. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons I'm doing the whole co-working space is because, I mean, it's called Thrive Therapy Space, and it's really about helping the therapists to thrive. I mean, obviously we want to help our clients thrive, but helping the therapists thrive, or helping, like Tony, you're helping co-working space managers to thrive. And that's important because then what we offer down the line is better.
Word.
So yeah, I would consider that at some point.
Neat.
I want my commission. It was my idea, Tony. Don't. Just joking.
The check's already in the mail, Tanya. You always got the best ideas.
Don't steal my thunder, man. You call me, Penny. Call me. All right, I'm going on mute. Thank you, guys.
You know what? You guys handle it. I'm busy enough as it is. You guys build it. I can't get into that right now. All right, so we got like 11 minutes. It's obviously been a bit of a smorgasbord this week. I am playing with developing some more programmatic ways that we can work together so that we can still be able to kind of all check in and do the general Q&A, but we can also work in more specific manners towards specific ends for our spaces. What that looks like is specifically right now, I want to focus on how we can make the spaces that you guys are running more than just workspaces, but really specifically spaces where particular kinds of programming takes place. If your space doesn't have room to like host kind of bigger workshop-y kinds of events, then we could focus on kind of core programming like we talked about last week. And if you do have the ability to host larger gatherings, workshops, meetups, that kind of thing, how we can make better use of your space to be able to kind of use that to grow your membership and your income and all of that stuff and all of your impact. So I'm working on a program specifically for that we can all go through together. And so I'm going to be hosting actually a video broadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. So basically 24 hours and 9 minutes from now. And there's a Facebook event for it where I'm going to be talking a little bit about like my thoughts from running Gathering Summit. I'll be talking about my thoughts from Juicy. And it's going to be a bit of a sales thing for people who aren't already in this group, but it's going to be valuable to you guys as well. So I just pasted a link into the chat. But it's already in your group, and you can just check it out on there. Okay, so we've got like 9-10 minutes left. We touched on a bunch of topics. Is there anything anyone's got a burning question that they're like really would love to just make use of the Hive Mind this week to help you out with while we still have a little bit of time? While you think of that, I also wanted to ask a question of the group, and maybe if you can just drop in your response in the chat. I'm wondering whether we may try to use Slack more for the personal updates that we kind of spend a lot of time on video here for. And so that's a possibility, but I want to know what people's opinions of Slack are in this group, because I certainly both love and don't love it. So if you want to just let me know what you think about Slack in the chat over this group, then that would be a big help to me, specifically for the no's. I'm already seeing a no from Jen, so that's useful. Great, thanks everybody. Great, so topics to discuss?
I have a burning question. Because
Sophia, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so because I'm trying to build two different things, the childcare piece and the co-working piece, and I'm a mom, so with two kids, so I'm trying to be mindful of the time, and I don't want the co-working thing to be like, overtake my life in a way that it's gonna be like the balance is out, out. I'm considering operatorship models with other co-working groups to operate my space. But I really like the co-working so much that I always want to be like in the middle of it. So I wonder what people think about operatorship model versus running your own space.
Yeah. Do Jen or Jessica want to have a quick comment about how you approached the co-working plus daycare hybrid model and what you've learned from that?
It's hard. It's super hard. I don't know what the regulations are in Texas, but in Illinois, we can't operate as a full-fledged daycare. It's really just a playroom, like they have at gyms. So it's a limit of 3 hours per day per child. So children can only stay for 3 hours in a day, and a guardian has to remain on site. All of this is still hypothetical because we're in week 8 and our playroom still hasn't officially opened yet. We're having some difficulties with the third party that we contracted with to operate the space. So I guess that would be my number one piece of advice is don't do it yourself. Contract with a third party to run it. Just because otherwise you are setting up an entirely different business with its own pitfalls. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not a child care expert. Yes, I have a child. I managed to keep her alive, but I'm not like a child care expert. So I would outsource that 100%. And I'm currently exploring partnering with somebody else just because there's been some roadblocks with the company that we originally hoped to do business with. I hope that answers your question.
I'll just add one of my kind of mantras for all of you, because like one of my main missions here is to make every one of your lives easier in the way that, that like I wish I could have made my own life easier 10 years ago when I was, getting started. And so much of that comes back to focusing as a leader of an organization on finding other people who you can recruit into your cause as early as possible, even if it's totally in an informal way, to increase your capacity to achieve what you want to achieve with minimal additional labor, right? So I was a very like foot soldier minded person when I was starting, where I was like, oh, I need this, I need to go do it. And actually that's not true, because I did find a lot of people to do a lot of the work for me that I wouldn't be able to do myself. But the more that you're able to think that way, the more effective you're going to be able to be kind of at a higher level. So if you say, okay, the daycare side of it, I'm not going to try to navigate the legalities of that. I'm going to find somebody who already does it, who I can get along with, and I really like them, and we have good, business kind of mindset together. Boom, that person can handle it and run with it. And now like a whole world of thousands of hours of your work is like, taken care of. So what does that mean? That means maybe you putting a lot of work into meeting people who are already in the daycare industry in your region, having coffee with every daycare owner in town, and finding the one person that you say, wow, this person's great. They're philosophically matched. They're trying to expand, blah, 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 right? And then that, that
Right.
check box that would save you a ton of time otherwise. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What about
Sorry, go ahead.
What about switching it the other way around? What if I find somebody for the co-working to operate the co-working for the beginning, and teach me and teach my team to operate it, and then I have a team that operates it. That I've been toying with that idea.
Yeah, make friends with the other co-working space owners too, right? Because what you might find is that if you reach out to every co-working space owner in town, like Jennifer and Alba and Herman over at Workspace Suites, right? Like you might find that there's a relationship somewhere where you could incubate your idea within something else, something that somebody else is already doing, or that like somebody's already looking to expand to a new space and they need someone to help them with it or whatever. So by meeting, if you just make a list of people to meet and you meet as many as you can, among that list of people is going to be like people you don't really get along with, or they're not cool, or they don't respond, they're gone, right? And then there's people that are pretty cool, but there's no real opportunity, we'll save them later. And then there's that like one or two people where it's like, wow, we could do something here. And then that will take you in a direction you can't predict now, but it will create this unexpected opportunity. The same way that Penny was just describing in her space for therapists, we never could have predicted that she would be considering partnering with a space that's an alliance for equality. But she found the right kind of people where that kind of partnership actually could make a lot of sense, but it was only because she was meeting people. And so it's kind of a constant mantra in this group is to like identify those high level people to be meeting with, meet with them, and then see what kind of opportunities emerge from there.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what we're doing here. We're trying to partner with CoLab. We're trying to partner with them so that they can manage the actual co-working space. So then we can focus on what we want, which is more of the agency side of things. So same thing.
Makes a heck of a lot of sense. We're already in the business.
Right.
Go along with them.
So what you guys are doing, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you guys.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, go for it.
So my question is, obviously leaning on people that, can do things better than you can, right? It's not my wheelhouse, so I'm going to delegate that out. Whether it's daycare or, my idea I'm playing with right now is this virtual assistant thing. I don't want to leave money on the table, but I don't want to give my space away for free either. So I'm kind of challenged with coming up to what that agreement looks like. So if anybody has any feedback on how you're creating that or offering that service and then what that markup looks like, that would be really helpful to me for sure. I'm just trying to figure it out. So I have a ton of ideas, but I don't want to have all of these options and all of these upgrades and services available but not financially gain from it. Because that's really what it's all about in some cases, profitability of it.
Yeah, so you're talking about kind of the like how do you maintain the constraints around what it is that you need to actually achieve vis-a-vis all these different kinds of relationships and partnerships and things like that you could be conjuring up, right? Because it can kind of get out of control when everybody you meet is like a special deal of some kind.
Right.
So I think, does anybody have any?
Like my virtual assistant, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So like my virtual assistant, the idea of them playing with is that, okay, so right now she's helping me cover the space while I'm gone, and then while I have family issues, later in the week or whatever, she's going to be there. But then it exposes her to a clientele where she can offer her service. And so what we've initially talked about was that as her model grows and as my model grows with the demand of her services from my people, is that just kind of work out a trade in kind where instead of paying her like I pay her right now this week, she would just run and operate out of my space at the reception desk. And I'm like, does that make sense? Is there a financial model that I'm losing out on there? Or just, I know everybody's got to put different value in it. For me, it's been huge. I could get away this week, which was invaluable.
Right. I got you.
I just don't know.
I would say so it's actually a really rich topic and probably one that we need to dive into in a longer conversation, but it is a tricky thing because we can very easily with these spaces spend way too much time setting up all these like interesting special like opportunities where you kind of like conjure up some weird partnership that maybe could be valuable or maybe not. And so you have to set some boundaries around how much time and energy you put into any kind of project that doesn't have a very obvious outcome that reinforces value to your core mission. So right now, especially for you, Katrina, the name of the game is we got to get bodies in the space. We need to get people paying to become members. And so there are a lot of things that you can, that you can do that will be helping you operate things more smoothly. And that's fine. So like, go for it. But I also wouldn't spend too much time setting up those things that will help you run it smoother, because right now the focus has to be on sales, right? And so if you're partnering with somebody who's going to do programming in your space that you think is going to help get members into your space, like, great, focus on that, right? Like, we can have, as many of those partnerships as possible. But we have to prioritize. And if you're thinking like, wow, I've got too many weird deals going on that don't have obvious outcomes, listen to that instinct. And
yeah.
You can even
like
think
right now I need her in this space because I can't go make sales. I can't go network at lunches. I can't leave this space right now. I mean, I'm literally chained there from 8 to 5 every day, and that does not give me the opportunities to network. And I need that to grow the space right now.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely one of the fundamental components of operation is that you need to get people in the door who are going to sit at the front desk so you don't have to be tied to the space. And we have, desk share program is a pretty proven thing. See you, Tanya. And all of that.
Okay.
But if you've got this VA partnership, whatever works, just I would say just do that as efficiently as you can.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you got it. All right, guys, it's been a whirlwind of a day. Thank you so much for your time. I hope everybody got something valuable out of it. If there's something you wanted us to come back to that we didn't have time for, shoot me a message or post it to the group, and I'm happy to keep these discussions going over email. And I will be back with some notes on some next steps for this group. Maybe we'll give Slack a try next week just to see how it goes. We'll play with the model here a little bit. And then for those of you who can join tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.